money movements over 10 years ago between companies in Sahara Computer Group's cash-focused banking service with Absa. This is under the scrutiny now at the Bloemfontein High Court. This is in relation to the 25 million rand Nulane Investments saga. It includes the flow of some R500 million through the Islandsite Investments Absa bank account between the period November 2011 and July 2012. Erin Bates will set it in context for us. Erin, good morning to you once again. So the money laundering evidence here is very important. How do we get from Nulane Investments to the Gupta-linked Islandsite Investments?
Yes, Goli. Well, in one case, in terms of a 9 million rand payment in May of 2012, it's through another alleged Gupta-linked company called Pragat. And so there's one step between the movement from Nulane Investments, that company paid by the Free State government for that high-level due diligence report, to Islandsite. Islandsite here coming up extensively in the money laundering evidence, and Ronika Raghavan, who was also a one-time Oak Bay CEO for the Guptas, a well-known business associate of the family, was a director of Islandsite, but from 2016 onward. Now, this May 2012 payment of 9 million rand went from Nulane Investments to Pragat and then to Islandsite, and from Islandsite it went to Confident Concept and then Sahara Computers and then to an account with the State Bank of India. Now, the same 9 million rand figure moves between all of these different company accounts and in quick succession, but Advocate Mike Helen, Senior Counsel for Raghavan, insistent that in almost all of the payments within the Gupta's Cash Focus Group service, that digital banking service for Sahara Computers at Absa, was for above-board loan agreements, except in the case of Confident Concept. He says there it was payment for goods and services. Helens has raised ledger books, he's raised financial statements, he's raised banking records for transactions, so bank statements for some of these Gupta-linked companies in the group, to drive the argument that all of these financial flows, including this 9 million rand movement of monies in May of 2012, amongst other payments, was entirely within normal business practice. And since it was so well documented, Helens has hinted, it shows that there was no effort to conceal the money movements, and that leads into his upcoming argument, which we'll hear right at the end of these criminal trial proceedings with witnesses, shows that the Gupta's business associates and the Guptas themselves weren't trying to hide anything here, and that there wasn't money laundering going on. He's saying that the state witness, currently under oath now in cross-examination, a senior financial investigator from the ID of the NPA, was trying to paint a sinister picture when one does not on his submissions exists. He says he was looking for something sinister, he was goal-oriented, and he didn't actually properly analyze the records here, or even go to Islandsite Investments or his client Raghavan to get their version of events. And if the ID of the NPA had done that, goes the submission, they would have found all of these documents which show that things were above board.
Sure. All right. So Mike Helens, this is the lawyer for Ronika Raghavan, says this was part of normal business practice. Okay. If you take that into consideration, let's zoom out then from what Mike Helens says is really a minutiae of individual transactions. What do we get to, ultimately? To get to what?
Well, that's a great question, because it depends on who you ask. If you ask the state, you ask the ID of the NPA, you ask the likes of Tesele Rankuatsana, the senior financial investigator under oath today and yesterday, facing a real battering in terms of his evidence, painstakingly gone through by Helens. The state's version, although Rankuatsana says his report filed for the ID of the NPA doesn't prove money laundering, it proves a relationship between these different Gupta companies and the quick succession of movements of monies. The state is arguing here that there was a fraud between the Free State government and Nulane Investments, and that money then made its way, that dirty money made its way into the Gupta's business matrix. But Helen's here for Raghavan, but also really driving home submissions or averments which bulk up the Gupta's sort of case of exonerating themselves, is that this is all proper business practice and there's nothing untoward here. And so the question moving forward is, with Rankoatsana's evidence and evidence still to come, including that of the Hawks, will the state be able to prove a case of money laundering? In other words, Oli, in simple terms, as we look at the bigger picture, was there an initial fraud between Free State government officials in agriculture and rural development, i.e. is the money that was paid to Nulane Investments dirty, and then did that money make its way in a sinister fashion through the Gupta business network at Absa and elsewhere, including banks, accounts at the likes of Bank of Baroda and others? That is really the issue. What is the bigger picture? Was it something dubious? Was it something fishy? Is that proven on the facts brought forward by the case, or has the case failed to do so, or anything untoward to begin with?
Erin Bates, thank you very much for putting us into picture there. We're going to continue monitoring this trial. Erin Bates, live for us at the Bloemfontein High Court.